Hello and welcome to Doubles and Trebles. We're off to Butlins this weekend for the UK Open, the first major of the year. Not the Masters, the UK Open is the first major of the year. This is the FA Cup of darts. 158 players down to one in one weekend. No seeds, short format early doors. Expect some upsets and random draws to go with it after each round. Quick word on the format. 62 players in round one. Two players have actually got buys, so we're down to 60 players in round one. Two players have got buys following the withdrawal of Corey Cadby, unfortunately, and Christian Perez as well. Then a further 32 join at round two. Another 32 join at round three as you go up the rankings, and the top 32 in the world, the big boys, enter the action in round four. As you can see from this list here, Alan Soutar is the one that squeezed into the 32nd spot of the current PDC order of merit rankings, and they go straight into the fourth round. The odds have gone up today. We're on Tuesday afternoon, and the odds have just gone up for the UK Open, as you can see on this page here. The draw's a little bit all over the place in terms of the first round draws out, but then it's kind of round two is player A versus player B or C, if you like. So we're not going to be getting stuck into too many individual games at this stage. We're going to be just looking at the outright markets, who we fancied. Like I say, the prices are up there. You're going to get each way 4 places. It's a little bit like a Players' Championship event that we love here on Doubles and Trebles, and we've got quite a lot of form to go on. There's 4 Players' Championship events in the book so far this year. We had a Euro Tour over the weekend, and we've had 4 weeks of the Premier League over the big boys. Pyman, UK Open, how much are you looking forward to it?
I absolutely love this event. It is the only sad thing about the UK Open is that it's only 3 days. It's just like it's chaos. And for the first time ever this year, we have all 8 boards streamed live. So,
all right,
yeah, any darts gimps like myself, you can have, if you've got enough screens, you can watch it all. Whether you want to be watching it all is questionable. Try to keep an eye on so many games at once.
I mean, I'm really looking forward to Dan Reed against Callum Luce, qualifiers from the Riley's qualifiers. I'm looking forward to that.
Well, the Riley's qualifiers got a proud history of sparking some really, really deep runs. And yeah, that's what the unique element is. Like you say, FA Cup of Darts, we have some amateur qualifiers in the mix. Although it must be said that most of the qualifying lads this year will not be new names to most darts fans. I mean, Luke Littler, a youngster with bags and bags of potential. We've all seen the video of him hitting a 9-darter as a 14-year-old or something silly. Really intrigued to see how he gets on his latest big stage opportunity. Danny Lauby, the American, somebody that darts fans will have seen a couple of times at the PDC World Championship. And then, as you mentioned, Dan Reed and the likes, the Modus Super Series has given a lot of these players a great foothold for, getting some experience of playing on, certainly playing in front of a big, virtual audience, if not a physical audience. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting dynamic as always at Butlins. 8 stages going on at once, and round 3, 4, 5 is where the chaos really is happening, when you have multiple big seeds going on at once across the 8 stages, and it's very hard to keep track of. I mean, if I just pull you out a couple of ties from last year's 4th round draw, which is when the big names come in. For example, we had Michael van Gerwen versus Gary Anderson at the first hurdle. Peter Wright versus Joe Cullen. We had Callan Ridds versus Nathan Aspinall, Michael Smith versus Chris Dobey. So it's just, Gerwyn priced Christoph Ratajski, who was in a lot better form then than he is now. So, I mean, it just shows you the potential for carnage. And that is why at the top of the market, we normally have players down in the region of 3-1, 11-4 for tournaments where it's a full field. You're not going to get any of that at the UK Open because nobody is guaranteed. That even Michael van Gerwen may even have to go through Michael Smith, Gerwyn Price, and Peter Wright if he wants to lift this trophy. There's just so many variables and so many intangibles. It makes for a fascinating heat and a fascinating weekend.
Yeah, just on the first round, Pyman, I've picked out a couple of games, like you say, random draw. Gian Van Veen, I picked that one out. He actually made the final of Players Championship. I think it was 28 or 29 last year. He was a 500 to 1 shot for that. Young Dutch lad, got a lovely style, lays him into the board. Phil Taylor-esque. He's going to be playing Robert Owen, someone who we saw at the World Championships in the first round. So I picked that one out. Other names to look out for: Jurgen van der Velde. Got a mention from me on our last Players Championship update. came from nowhere, never heard of him, played really well on day one of the Players' Championship, beat Barney, made the last 16. I have since backed him for the following 3 Players' Championship events, and he has gone out first round in all 3. He plays Brett Claydon in the first round, and finally,
Tough draw for him.
Adam Warner, a fella that you highlighted to me, Pine Man, got his tour card in January. Young English lad. He's playing Andy Jenkins in the first round. So, might be the first round. Some people might not have heard of these, but there's a few in there that we have heard of and potential.
Yeah, definitely potential. Sebastian Białowski didn't get his tour card at Euro Tour School, but he does have serious pedigree in this tournament. He got to the last 8, I think, as a qualifier quite recently, and that just shows the potential for these lads to go on a run and really make a name for themselves. Thibaut Tricot will become the first French player to ever play at the UK Open alongside Jacques Labre. They're both coming at round 1. And Lucas Wenig, the big German that some people will have seen on the Euro Tour, he got a good victory on the Euro Tour last weekend, played very well. Plays Jeffrey Deswan, who seems to be a little bit reborn after finding his tour card. So that is a really good first round tie. A lot of people won't have much interest in this first round draw that are watching, and they'll be thinking, when do the bigger names come in? Well, the seeds are just going to gradually be eased in from round 2 and round 3, and then the top 32 coming in at round 4. And while we can plot people's path as far as round 3 at the moment, we just don't know what's going to happen at round 4. So, it is to a point, there's very little point in us studying in depth the potential paths of round 1 entrance at this stage. But if you want all that info, it's all on the PDC app and website. So, if you've got somebody you do fancy who's coming in the early rounds, make sure you have a look at the route they've got, because some have certainly got more favourable routes than others, shall we say.
Yeah, someone who comes in at round 3 there, Pine Man, Josh Rock, the 36 in the current PDC order of merit. I think it's safe to say he'll be coming in at round 4 next year. But he's actually drawn Luke Woodhouse, who's not that far behind him in the rankings. Did okay at the World Championship as well. So again, just another example that you can still draw a fellow seed, if you like, from your own section because of the nature of the random draw. Like I say, round 4 draw as it stands now looks pretty chaotic, given that you've got 3 forward slashers. But yeah, you can still draw someone that's in the same ranking section of yourself, if you like. So yeah.
Well, while you mentioned Josh Rock, think of this what you like. He's currently 14-1 to win next year's World Championship. Now, I don't want to get into what that price is right or not, whatever, but he is currently 20-1 to win the UK Open. And I guess if people are looking for a little bit more juice and they do think that he's a major winner in waiting, this might be the week that you play Josh Rock, and hope that he just, grows into it and stuff. He does have that one extra game to play, but if he's going to win the UK Open, he's going to have to beat better players than Luke Woodhouse. No disrespect to Luke. So, very interesting to see Josh Rock priced up at 20s there.
Right, to the market then, Pie Man. Of course, you will be throwing in a couple at massive prices, but starting at the top of the market, and assuming that these at the top of the market are mainly coming in round 4, what would be your primary pick at the top of the market, if you see what I mean?
Well, let's cut to it. There's one name that stands out for me. I think he's the same for you as well. He's currently in there 33-1. It's Dirk van Dijvenbode. He's playing the dart of his life. He's already won one of the first 4 Players' Championships this season. He was electric on the Euro Tour last weekend. Really, really good. I actually thought on the night that going into the final session, quarterfinals, that it was Dirk's time to win a Euro Tour title. As it was, he lost a very tight contest to Luke Humphries. They both averaged in excess of 100, and he didn't do an awful lot wrong, to be honest. But the round prior to that, he'd beaten Michael Smith. Michael Smith potentially injured, but for me, Dirk just too good on the day. 180s all over the place. He's absolutely plastering the treble, even more than he normally does. He equaled the record for 180s recently on a Players' Championship event. So, I mean, he's in absolutely rude health. I do worry about him in set format, as I've said previously on our World Championship previews. I mean, I backed him at 130 for last year's World Championship, but I don't personally feel like that is the major for him. I feel like he needs to be in, legs like the players. We saw him have a great run at the Players' Championship finals where he beat Ryan Serling, that ding dong at the back end of last year. Very similar format to this: race to 10 legs, race to 7. It just suits him. He gets a little bit of a rhythm up. He starts reeling off 3 or 4 legs in 5-minute bursts, and even if he has a slow start, he kind of has time to grow himself back into the game. I just think 33 to 1. I was praying that someone was going to go up at 33. I thought, don't go up. My fear was that they were all going to go up at 20. Someone's gone up at 33. That's the price I want to back Dirk at, and he's my best bet, 100%. Of course, you need luck with the draw in this tournament. My one caveat on Dirk, just before I pass it over to yourself, is that I was a little bit disappointed when he won his Players' Championship that Dan Dawson interviewed him, and he alluded to the fact that he still doesn't think he's as good as the world's best. That's just a little bit of a concern for me. I don't know whether he's just publicly trying to, lower the pressure or expectation on his shoulders, whether it's a mind game, for himself, for his own amusement. But I want to hear him say that he's as good as everyone else, because he is. We can all see that he is. Nobody scores 180s like him. He's beaten all of the world's best players on multiple occasions now. He needs to find that belief that he can win a tournament like this, because there's absolutely, you do the numbers. If you're a data lover, you'll see that Dirk van Dijvenbode has a very, very good chance of coming and winning something like this. And yeah, a little bit more self-belief, please, Dirk, because I'll certainly be backing him at 33 to 1.
As will I. You know what I've been saying for a long time on this channel. Pyman Dirk is on the waiting list to win a big one. He has been for a while. He's in fantastic form. I think the random quick fire 3-day nature of this tournament suits him down to the ground.
I do.
He don't care what board he's playing on. He doesn't care who he's playing. He won't have time to mill over and think about, I'm playing Michael van Gerwen, or I'm playing Josh Rock or whatever. Yeah. He's just going to crack on. Set format doesn't work for him. I said that a long time ago. And as you've alluded to, I just think he's the right one for this tournament. 33 to 1 is about the right price. I wouldn't want to back him at any shorter than that. I'd be certainly happy to back him. Into the next section of prices, if you like. Ross Smith hasn't done a whole lot this year. I've backed him on a couple of Players' Championships so far. He's been a little bit unlucky. I still think he's very good. At 66 to 1 might be a play for me in that region. And then we're into the free figures. I'm not going to take the credit off you, Pyman, because you've highlighted one there that there's already a bit of blue on show for the gentleman from Northern Ireland.
Yeah, Daryl Gurney has been, on the wane for the last couple of years, and we've pointed that out on the channel a few times. He's never really somebody that I would consider putting up as a selection. He's definitely been on the decline. However, I don't know what's happened to Daryl over the last couple of months. He seems to be completely rejuvenated this season. Really good showings in the Players' Championship in the first 4 events, and then he just backed that up again with his performance on the Euro Tour at the weekend. He's the only person to qualify for all 4 Euro Tours. I think 2 of them actually. Brendan Dolan may also have done that, but that is not an easy thing to do, because that's just random draw, and you've got to turn up and win 3 matches against random PDC Tour card holders. So it just tells you where Daryl Gurney's head is at, where his confidence is at. I don't know if you've seen this, but he's actually getting a bit of attention as well for a new trick he's kind of inbuilt into his game, where when he's going for a 60 or an 80 finish, he's kind of throwing his set-up dart flat, and it's landing like that, so that he can get in. He has more of the tops to go. When I first saw him do it, I was just absolutely mesmerised. But I haven't really seen anybody do that before, and he did it a few times over the weekend. And the commentators were having a chat about it, saying they think that all players are going to be trying to learn to do that soon, because for anyone that darts upright facing, that 60 finish can become very problematic. But yeah. It takes a bit of confidence to be doing tricks like that. I just really like where he's at in terms of his headspace. I mean, he's a divisive character. He can look a real moody sod on the stage sometimes. But let's not forget, this man is a major winner, former Premier League player. He has serious gears. He beat Gabriel Clemens 6-5 in a ding dong contest on Friday night, where a full German crowd was supporting Clemens, and I thought Gurney was really, really impressive there. 150 to 1 or bigger, if you can use some kind of, boosting function. I don't know if that's possible. It's just tremendous value. 4 places. Big note, 4 places, almost everywhere are 4 places on this. So, semi-finalists is getting you an each-way payout at a quarter. And that's why Gurney is an each-way player for me. There's another man there that is blue that was also on my shortlist. Looks like I'm just copying whoever this Shrudy is that's got on. But yeah, I mean, you can't fail to notice that Jamie Hughes' Players' Championship results have been really, really impressive. He's made semi-finals and quarter-finals already. The season is young. a former top 32 player who's just again been on the slide a little bit, but definitely rediscovered something at the back end of last year. And this might be a tournament that suits Hughes if he gets a nice draw and he can stay out of the big stage. It wouldn't surprise me if he's just a name that no one's really following, and then you look at the last 16 quarterfinals and there's Jamie Hughes, and you've and at the prices at 300s could be a cracking each way runner.
As usual, we often agree, Pieman, and you've highlighted some. I mean, if you just looked at that screen there, Jamie Hughes in comparison to others around him that are 300 to 1,
well,
exactly. It just stands out like a sore thumb. Not necessarily for winning the tournament purpose, but some players that are in form. I think Mario, I can't even say his last name, but he got his first Euro Tour win over the weekend. Not spectacular averages, but I think he's playing well. I mentioned Jurgen van der Velde as well. I think he's started his season really well, although hasn't been winning since my money went on him. And got to mention earlier on as well, Gian van Veen.
Yeah, Van Veen. I was going to mention him myself.
Yeah, he'll be 500
yeah, well, I don't know if he should be 500, to be honest. I think he should be a little bit shorter. He's proven himself to be a very capable Players' Championship performer. As you say, reached the final last year, and he's backed up that performance this year. He's done okay at his Euro Tour qualifiers. He's done well on the floor. I think he made a quarter-final recently. So, yeah, 500s would be of interest. But
yeah, maybe match-to-match betting. Keep an eye on those sort of names.
Look, these prices you don't need a lot on, do you, to have a little interest? You could to be talking a quid or two. Just
on
one
the assumption
word
that you'll get paid out should they win.
Well, yeah, that's another story, another video maybe. One just sort of general point about the UK Open and why I do think it's attractive to look a little bit in the middle range of the market here. In the last 6 years, 11 of the 12 finalists have been unique. So Gerwyn Price is the only player to make the final twice in the last 6 years, and he actually lost both of those finals. Winners recently, you'll remember Danny Noppert winning it with an 84 average in a bizarre game against Michael Smith last year. That was where Michael Smith was at the peak of his "is he a bottle job" powers. Of course, that all looks ridiculous now. A title that James Wade won very recently, generally when considered to be beyond the time of winning a major again. So I definitely think this is the one where you do have to have a good look further down the market. And I'm not saying go super far down. However, another reference point for, potentially looking a little bit lower down than normal would be last year's quarterfinal, last 16 lineup. I'm just going to read you the names of the players in last year's quarterfinals. Keane Barry, James Wade, Sebastian Białowski, Willie O'Connor, Danny Noppert, Damon Heta, Michael Smith and Gerwyn Price. But I think the first 5 or 6 of those names are a perfect case in point as to why you shouldn't be ruling out players at 50 to 1 or bigger from having a really good run in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be concentrating our top end of the market efforts on Dirk van Dijvenbode between us. I will be having a small go on Ross Smith as well. And don't get me wrong, Pieman will probably end up with a couple of quid each way on Damon Heta, as he usually does. But yeah, as and when the markets come out for the games, the early round games, we might put something up on Twitter. But that's where we're going at the moment. We flagged some absolutely humongous prices as well. The Week 5 Premier League preview is out there as well, so make sure you check that out and keep tuning into Doubles and Trebles. We're providing all the entertainment, all the value, and hopefully a couple of winners. We'll speak to you soon.